Is this really in line? I need to be this way a bit, but otherwise, yes. And now my display capture is broken. Oh, there you go. All right. What's up, Elvarg? Nebula, Ruby Fox, hello. Hello, hello. What's up, Cream Puff Soup? Hi, Alexander. What's up, Poot? Hi, Amalgamation. How it goes? It goes good.
Poggers!
How's it hanging?
It's hanging good. My hands are a little bit fucked up because I just got back from the gym from rock climbing and lifting and such. And so my hands are very sensitive. I don't know if you can't really see the red because the camera doesn't have a good color scale, but how high did you climb? All the way. Hey, Ace. Hi, lesbian dino nerd. Crazy name you've got there. Well, the gym near me is nice because it's like a proper, like a normal gym plus rock climbing. So it has a giant rock climbing area. But I was also, in between climbs, like worked on videos. I was able to bring in my laptop and they have internet. I worked on videos. And then they have like a weightlifting section. So deadlift, bench press, all that. So I could do that as well. So I was able to work out like normal, like at a normal gym, and climb workout and do work. So it's a pretty good deal, all things considered. Getting new waders for the summer. I can send you the ones that I use. Mala's good. These Tideway. That is a ridiculously long link, Amazon. What is wrong with Amazon? Anyways, the Tideway, Tide WE, are the, it's just a ridiculously large link. That is the waders that I use and I have always used. I've had like 3 pairs of them now because I've ripped them, but the ripping was like not the waders' fault. Like they last a really long time if you don't walk through rose bushes or greenbrier while wearing them. All of the times that they've ripped have been 100% my fault. Hey Rebel, hey Liz. Hi Harrow Show, welcome. What fish stuff are we doing today? Oh, we're doing some real fishy stuff today.
Hello.
You guys want to see Mala? Thank you, Nexus. Hi, Nate. How you doing?
Poggers!
What happened? The camera
Hello.
shifted. Oh, it's only showing her head now. Thank you, Mothra Court. Wow, you guys both just subbed at the same time with different fish name, different saying hello. Hold on, I gotta adjust the camera. I must have kicked the wire with my chair and moved the camera. There you go. Hey, free, I think it's a free emote, right? AVNJ Mala. Everyone can use it, even if you're not subbed. Hi, Firen. Hi, Victoria. I still don't know if I should just say Victoria, or if it's not even Victoria. Is it just Volactoria? Volactoria. Hi, Venomous. Hi, Dime. Hi, Maurice. Wow, so many familiar faces. I didn't at everyone in the Discord today, Mr. Nice Guy, because I think the video is more important than the stream. So I wanted that to be the most recent at everyone. So if anyone sees the sub notification in the Discord, that they would, you know, they would go to the YouTube video rather than to the stream. So there's going to be less viewers today, naturally, because I didn't at everyone, which is what I normally do, and usually brings in most of the viewers. I'm glad you think it was a good video. A couple people have complimented me on it. It's been very nice. I appreciate that. It's one thing to have like a bunch of YouTube comments be like, hey, good video, fish man, you know? And then it's another thing to have someone who, like, you know, you respect, or someone you talk to, or a friend or something, be like, hey, that was a good video. I don't know why it's different. It just is different. Volactoria. Lactoria is a scientific name for cowfish. What you on about? I don't know. I'll shut up. I envy. Wow, that is a lot of AVNJ malas in the chat. There's an animated cat emote. I have an animated cat emote. How do I look at my own emotes? I don't even know how to do that. Oh. AVNJ. Wait, these are all my TTV emotes. Where are my normal emotes? Oh, there's a Pet the Mala emote. I see. YouTube wouldn't let me post comment. We're currently going over evolution, how fish evolved in my biology class. Cool. Fish evolution is really cool. Fish evolution is the evolution of all vertebrate life. So if you like salamanders or fish or birds or dinosaurs or anything, you like fish, because that's where they came from. Pet the what? Mala. That silly goober right there in the cat cam is Mala. If you were named after a fish, what would it be? If I was... Wait. Not I get to name a fish. If I had to change my own name to the name of a fish? Was that your question? Hi, Ten House. If I had to change my name, what's a cool fish sound? What's a cool fish name? Can it be Latin, or is that cheating? Gar? No, Perch is an ugly name. I don't want to be Perch. Watch, there's someone in chat named Perch. Cod, Slippery Dick. See, I think you guys aren't thinking as honestly about this as I would. Dunkel Osteus was go hard. Hi, the name's Osteus. Dunkel Osteus. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's funny. Oh, I could... Oh, wait, no, I can't. I was gonna say I could be Megan, and then last name Ladon. Megan Ladon? Dude, it could be a real name. The person who named the Slippery Dick speak English? Well, they spoke the English of 300 years ago, yes. When Dick was not as much of a thing as it is now. In the obscene way. If you ever become an uncle, they should call you Dunkel. Uncle Zach. Megamouth has to be a real name. The Megalodon, Meganlodon. Marlin. Hey, Marlin's a good one. That is the name of a fish and a real name that some people have, actually. Marlin's probably the most legitimate answer. Goby's not bad. It's Mala. M-A-L-A. American Shad. What's the longest fish name? What's the longest? Yeah. I'm gonna be Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Kuapua. That's gonna be my new first name. So AVNJ, I remember you said in the previous video you'd not fished a lot in your life, but you said you're planning to do so. How has that been? Do you mean fishing with a rod? I've still never done that. Fishing in general, like when I use a dip net, I do that shit all the time. American woodcock. I just saw one of those the other day. Well, like 2 weeks ago. And then also in November. You guys have any questions? All right. I know some of that was like question stuff, but let's begin the question time. Any fish related questions you have, please send them my way. Let's do some question time, and then we will I know we've already done a little bit. We'll do some question time. We'll talk about stuff, and then we'll do some content after. Because I do have some content prepared, but we'll start with a little question time. And just so you guys aren't too lonely without her, I'll throw Mala up as well. How to fish depends on what you're fishing for. There are a lot of different methods. You can have fun no matter what. Favorite fish to eat? I don't eat fish. If you had 0 money limitations, what fish species would you keep? 0 money limitations? So as in I can build as like large of a tank as specialized? I think the limitations might be science, not money, because I want some deep sea thing that I could have at crazy high pressure, but I don't even think that exists. Like, I don't think it is well enough developed to where like I could look at the fish and keep it in a tank at crazy high pressure. So I don't even think there's an amount of money, but I guess if it's unlimited money, I could pay for that research to happen very fast. How do fish fish? Fish in different ways. The most common method of fish fishing is just wow, I can't think of the word. Ambushing. Sitting somewhere and waiting for smaller fish to come by, and then you fish the fish. Thoughts on microfishing? Microfishing's cool. It's what I do, and it's what my friends do. I don't use a rod, but I still consider it microfishing. I just microfish with a dip net. I love microfishing. Very cool hobby. If any of you are interested in fish, you should microfish. It's really cool. You just go out and you try and catch species. It's literally like playing Pokemon. Microfishing is just the hobby of trying to catch as many different species of fish as possible. And you could use a net, you could use a rod if you want, but rather than trying to get like a particularly big fish or, you know, bring something home to eat or whatever, you're just trying to see as many different species. So you really get to explore the species and things about them, which I find really cool. You know, like you go from, as a normal fisherman, there's shiners, you know?
What is the biggest fish you could beat in a fight to the death in water?
I'll answer that after. You know, as a normal fisherman, you might know of like shiners or minnows, but when you start to microfish, if you want to be able to catch as many species as possible, you got to learn to tell the difference between them. So it's fun. What dip net do you use? I use Jonah's dip net.
Pride Punk.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, little elf. As long as I have had Jonah's dip net, I have used Jonah's dip net. It was a sponsor. I think I reached out to them for a sponsorship like, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, and they sent me a free dip net. That was it, by the way. They sent me a free dip net. They didn't pay me anything for anything. I did the sponsorship, and I have never used another dip net since. Before that, I was using this cheap one off Amazon that would break every time I used it because the handle was not strong enough. That was a pain. Should I take my fish tank to college? Depends how big it is. If it's under 10, yeah, sure, why not? Be the first to keep a great white without getting it depressed? That would take some trial and error. What time are walleye most active? I have no idea. I am not a not a game fish expert. I really don't know that much about bass and stuff like that. Thank you, Alexander, for the sub. Why did fish evolve to have mucus coating rather than changing their skins? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you mean like shedding skin, like reptiles do. Yeah, that is really interesting because invertebrates shed their skin, right? Well, they molt. And then reptiles molt as well. And in between an invertebrate and a reptile is fish, theoretically, like evolutionarily. So what happened in the in-between? That's a good question that I don't actually know the answer to. The mucus is just a very helpful thing to have. It's very protective against disease and injury and all sorts of other things. It's just a very good defense. So that makes sense why that evolved. But specifically why fish didn't evolve to molt, I don't know. They grow continuously throughout their lives. Most fish don't even really have a max size. They just start allocating energy in other places. So they stop growing because they're putting the food that they're eating towards reproducing or migrating, whatever. But they don't technically stop growing. So maybe that would be a problem with molting. Because I guess with molting, typically you like grow to a point, molt, grow to a point, you know. Don't fish suck their food? Many fish use a sort of like, they manipulate the water in a suction type way, yes, to pull food in. How long have you been vegetarian? 10 years, I think. Maybe 11. Opinion on tadpole fish? If you're talking about Hyquicthes, big fan. Love me some ancient fish. I quarantine saltwater fish for a living? What does that mean? Like you work at like an aquarium and you take the fish out of the aquarium when they need to be quarantined? Why do we call fish fish if fish isn't a specific group? Well, for a long time in history, fish just kind of referred to anything in the water. Look at that cutie. Look at her. Look at her. Like fish were fish, but also lobsters were fish and shellfish were fish, you know, clams were fish. The definition only got a little bit more strict more recently and then scientific. But I think fish just in general means like creature of the water. And we just kind of have made it more specific as we came up with names for other things. Opinions on chimeras? I love chimeras. Be really cool to see one in person one day, but it's kind of beyond my abilities to find a live chimera. What if Jonah wants their dip net back? I think they're good. Favorite fish that you've seen in the wild? I still don't know the answer to this. I've seen so many cool fish. I mean, it seems like the obvious answer would be something in Malaysia that like no one else has seen because that's really cool. But then it's like, I don't know. There's some cool minnows here that I've enjoyed too. I don't know if I could come up with a proper answer to that. Best aquarium you've been to? I could tell you best and worst. I think my best was probably the Shed in Chicago. That was a really good aquarium. Baltimore is a somewhat close second. I really liked the Baltimore aquarium, but the Shed was just incredible. It had a lot of native fish exhibits, which I'm a sucker for, obviously, when they have a bunch of native exhibits. And then the worst I've ever been to is the Kansas City Aquarium. It was so bad. Like, in addition to being tiny, it really just was not great. Been to the Toronto Aquarium? No, I've never actually been to Canada. I want to go to Canada at some point. I want a Northern Pearl dace. Honestly, I could probably drive to Canada. Is that the Canadian border is like 5 hours from me. I could really just drive in it. Can you do that? Can you just drive into Canada with a passport and then just let you cross the border? I should do that. I should just pick a weekend, drive into Canada and go catch some fish. Are there cool fish in Canada? I know there's some cool fish in Canada. I know I could get some of the chrysomis and the Northern Pearl dace. Let's see. If I drove up to Canada, I would probably go along here and visit my friend. What do we got up here that I would want? I have Central Mud Minnow. I have Brook Stickleback. I got Northern Red Belly last time I was up there. I have Round Goby. I have Long Nose Gar. I have all of these. Common Log Perch I have. I'm waiting to see a fish I don't have. I have Brook Silverside. Lake Sturgeon I don't have, but I don't think I would happen upon a Lake Sturgeon. Black Chin. Are Black Chin that much more common up there? Oh, interesting. They seem to be way common up here in the lakes. Okay, Black Chin is interesting. Some red horse up there. Moon Eye. Dude, a Moon Eye would be so cool. Fine Scale. I don't think I caught Fine Scale dace last time I was up there. Right? No, I did not catch a Fine Scale. I want a Fine Scale. This is like one of the only chrysomis that I still have not yet caught. So maybe I'll do that. Get a fine scaled dace. Now's the time that they're breeding, I think, too. I have all these. Northern Pearl Dace. That's the one I really want. I really want a Northern Pearl Dace. And look, there's a decent bit of overlap between literally in downtown Ottawa. There are fine scale dace and there are pearl dace. And I barely have to go over the border. Still need a burbot. Oh, northern sunfish. That's something I would have to get if I was up there. Oh, geez, it's all that direction towards Montreal. Oh, and it's all obscured. I want northern sunfish. Oh, it's all hydrophilus obscuring it. Because when else am I going to get northern sunfish? I guess I could drive over here. They seem to be pretty abundant. Bridal shiner. It would be cool to get a Canadian bridal shiner. I want brassy minnow, but this has got to be impossible. I don't know how you would go about getting brassy minnow. It actually doesn't seem that uncommon. Again, in downtown Ottawa, in the Rideau River, there seems to be something to all of the fish that I want to find. I want a trout perch, but I was planning to go to Pennsylvania for those. Eastern sand darter are up in Canada? Oh, lake chub. I want that too. Wait, eastern sand darter in Canada? What? Eastern sand darter are right there? That's got to be an obscured hydrophilus one, right? Yeah, classic. Wait, but up here, this one's real. In the Deer River? Dude, I want an eastern sand darter so bad. That's sick. Maybe I want that. I'm window shopping for fish right now. True. Or the lake chub. The lake chub are over there. Honestly, yeah, okay. Maybe we'll do a Canada trip soon, chat. Not soon, because I have, like, fish things planned in April, June, and July. But anyways, I probably missed some questions. Let me look back at the questions that I missed. What are the best ways to get protein as a vegetarian? Tofu. Tofu helps a lot. And dairy products. I don't know. I'm not a dietary expert. I did have my blood work done recently and it was excellent. Like all of my nutrients were really good, like within the correct ranges. And I've been vegetarian for now half of my life. So I don't even eat beans and I don't have nuts very often either. So it doesn't seem as hard as people make it out to have a nutrient balance, but it could be different person to person. Why are there such fish as bottom feeder and top feeder? Just different niches. If you're going to live within the same pond, or if you're forced to live within the same pond, and the one fish is eating all the food off the bottom, well, hey, you could get to it faster when it's on the top. But if you specialize to eating on the top, once it sinks past you, then you can't really get it anymore. So, you know, makes sense to have someone on the bottom. And then most fish are really in the middle. It's just different niches. What do you think is the most underrated aquarium fish? I don't know. I don't have many aquarium fishes. I would say natives, really. I think not enough people keep natives. They're really cool. Probably like pygmy sunfish are really cool. Seen a lot of those do really well on Twitch. Wonder why we never made a new name to refer to the vertebrate fish to avoid confusion. That's where we've just slowly converted the definition to that. Alligators are my favorite animal, and that's why I want to eat one. Okay, have fun. They have the Cape elephant fish at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. That's cool. I've never been. Where's Monterey Bay? Is that California, right? I am going to California. Yeah. I am going right there. In June, I'm gonna be in California, but I have not been before. So I've never been to the West Coast other than a layover in Seattle twice, and I guess I've been to Alaska if you count that. Minnesota Zoo is amazing for fish. I was gonna go to college in Minnesota. That was like my #1 draft pick for college, was I wanted to go to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, but they offered me no money. So alas, I could not do that. Would you ever harness train Mala so she can join you on AVNJ's adventures? No, she's not really an outdoor cat. She also has FELV, which is a disease that basically is sort of similar to human HIV. So she doesn't really have a functioning immune system. So the less I expose her to, the better. And as long as I can keep her happy and healthy indoors, I would prefer to do that. Someone should make a Pokedex, but for fish, and you get an achievement if you get photos of all the fish in a genus. That's literally just iNaturalist. You are describing iNaturalist. You would love iNaturalist. Yes, I have a freshwater tank. How many rivers in North America are called Deer River? It has to be in the hundreds. It has to be triple digits. What fish could you beat in a fight? Almost all of them. Do I get tools? Then all of them. Hey Zach, it's been a while. I'm at rehearsal. Can't stand with for a while. Hi Pluto. Hope you're doing well. I eat a lot of mock meats as a vegetarian. I'm not a huge mock meat fan. I feel like when they try to make it taste like real meat or look like real meat, they end up just creating like weird, slimy, poorly textured stuff that I don't typically enjoy. Any consistent tips on avoiding human contact in populated areas when adventuring and fishing around? Oh, now this is my specialty. Avoiding people while fishing is like #1. If there's someone fishing, I'll always go the opposite direction. I always check the area before I ever get into a stream to fish, unless there's like a really specific spot that I want to hit. Just go to like not parks. You know, parks are nice, and it's, you know, easy. It's very nice to have a nice parking lot where you can just get right into the water and find the fish that you want. But you're going to run into a lot more people and fishermen, and I don't know. It's not a big deal for some people, but I'm just mildly socially anxious and I don't enjoy it. So you just, the more secluded, the better. There's a lot of public access waterways. You should look up the laws for your state, but in New Jersey, for example, all waterways are public access, unless the person, I think, owns both sides of it, and some other things, has to be a certain width and all that. If you can get into it on public property, you can walk along it as much as you want. So I just will walk up or downstream if I'm at a park until I'm out of the area that people are in, or I try to find areas where there aren't people in the first place. Can't angle for lake sturgeon in Ontario. Wouldn't be angling anyways. I would dip net a lake sturgeon. I thought vegetarians eat eggs and dairy, but vegans avoid all animal-based foods. That's true. I eat eggs and dairy. Probably an unpopular opinion, but my favorite video of yours is when you went to aquarium with friends. Would you ever do that again for a video? That was a fun video. The unfortunate part about that video is that it was, the people that I went with was my ex, and then my ex editor. Not that there's like particularly bad blood with either of those people, but some things that I'd rather not remember and have out there. But next time I go to the aquarium, we'll go boys trip aquarium. I'll take Aval and Justin and Tyler, and then there's no bad memories. And just be the boys. Can you really beat a whale shark? If I have a gun, yeah. I could beat any fish if I am given a weapon to do so with. I don't have a rainbow darter. I've caught them before. Oh yeah, you can also just fish at night. Most of my fishing is at night. You would be surprised, at least with a dip net, how much easier it is to catch fish at nighttime. With a headlamp in a stream, they move around less. They're way more obvious under headlamp. You don't have to deal with like the glare of the sun and all that. You can just see a lot better. It's just way easier. How do I start dip netting? You get a dip net of any sort and then go out into a stream and try to find some fish with it. I have a tutorial on YouTube if you want to learn like proper dip netting techniques, but really for the first while you can just do it however it feels natural. I don't think you'd beat a hippo. I said fish, Maizute. Hippo is not a fish. How is a gun gonna work in water? Bro's never seen a harpoon gun. Spear fishing. You ever have enough money? Zoo in Wrocław. Where in the world is Wrocław? Oh, in Poland. Interesting. You said animal? The question was fish. Ugh. These pedantic Peters in my chat. Alright, does anyone else have any other questions before we finish off this? When are we gonna have another aquarium contest? At some point. Like when we're gonna have another inventive fish? At some point. They come around, they go around, they come around, you know? You could look at when the last one was, or like the distance between the last two, and that'll give you a pretty good idea of how long I usually wait. Like, invent a fish is usually around 4 months between, but it can go up to 6 or 7 months. And the aquariums thing is less common than that. Probably like once every half year or a little less. Thank you, Special Sock. All right. Shall we begin the content, chat? What would you guys like first? Do a poll for everyone still hanging out. What first? We've got a lot of fish in the news. There's a lot. We're going to go through a lot of different things. It's going to be multiple videos worth of fish in the news. Or a react. Do you still look at dam water, or did you stop that job? Oh, that was just a like part-time thing that I did in college. The dam camera. You can vote right now for what you want to see first in the poll on top of chat. I've already done a video about the fish doorbell. That is not one of the things. I did see people posting that in my Discord because I guess it got more attention, but I have already made a video about that before, like 2 years ago, and we even did it. We played with it, so. It's funny how my channel is now very rarely we talk about Crabzilla or Megalodon. A lot of fans still like it, but it's like my channel has transitioned a lot to more like real fish related things, which I'm not opposed to. I like talking about and learning about real fish. We've evolved as a fan base. Yeah, that's true. Used to be a bunch of Megalodon hoes. And the normal people who come around still sometimes are, but I heard there's a way to force people to vote using their channel points. Not force, but yeah, you can make it so that you use channel points to vote. I don't think I'll be doing that today, 10 House, but I might do one today, 10 House, if you hang out. We'll see how I'm feeling. It's all about energy. I've got a lot of stuff to get through. I want to make a bunch of videos, but the more videos that I make in this one stream, the more time that I get to rest and prepare until next stream, you know? So it's like, I try to do as much as I can at once, but I don't want to push myself. This probably sounds dumb, and I'm not saying streaming is a particularly hard job, but it is very, very draining, especially for someone introverted, to do this kind of thing. To be on it and then make content and think about all that and react to chat and go back and forth, and it's a lot. All right. Fish in the News has won. And with the first thing that we are going to look at today for Fish in the News. Welcome to Fish in the News, by the way. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful intro that Ghostboy adds to all of the Fish in the News is now. Is that a endangered fish, a fish that is protected in the nation that it is in, was cooked on live TV. Congratulations. A protected fish has been caught and cooked on live television in Austria. For over 35 years, the Orf magazine has been one of the most popular regional news programs in the country being Austria. In addition to current topics and events, there's a recipe for viewers to cook every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, they put on a nice little thing. They tell you, you know, here's a recipe for you. You just use this thing, and you make some delicious thing. However, this caused a stir in front of the screens last week. An innkeeper prepared meatballs with fish from the nearby Danube. The Danube being a river. I don't really know how to say that. There's a cool Danubian minnow in that river that I really like. However, what was sizzling in the pan in front of the cameras was an endangered specimen, the female nerfling, a European carp fish. Oh, that's unfortunate. What is a nerfling? Nerfling. Oh, an eyed. Okay. Eyed, I guess, are protected in Austria. What? Okay, thank you for the ad on GPUs. I did not know that eyed were protected in Austria. That is unfortunate. Is one of the strictly protected species in Austria and is on the red list all year round. Ah, there is no time. It may not be fished and certainly not offered for consumption. Numerous viewers recognized the woman's joke on the broadcast and were horrified. They contacted the station with complaints. Last week, we overcooked a delicious fish, the so-called Fraunerfling, but it is protected all year round, and we apologize for that. They had different information about this. How the fish ended up in the television pan is still unclear. The only advice was to get a copy from a trusted fisherman. So somebody at the news program was like, hey, I've got a great idea. I'll just go fish something out of the river and we'll cook it up and it will be absolutely delicious. And then they did it, and unfortunately it was an endangered fish. I don't think they're going to jail. Usually if you catch an endangered fish, you get a fine at worst. And that's if they catch you, which, to be honest with you, they do not catch you as much as you would think that they catch you. Wriggling gold. Fishermen who catch baby eels for $2,000 a pound hope for many years of fishing. Look at this. Baby eels. I was curious what they are. If these are Anguilla, I could do this. When are they going to hire me? Do you know how many baby eels I've caught in my life? The freaking what are those things called? What are baby eels called? Somebody in chat knows the answer because I can't think of it off the top of my head. Nope, they're not eelets. Nope, it's not Jerry. Nope, not glass eels, but people do say that. No, not noodles. Evils. Wait, you're so close, Volectoria. It's not Evils, but it's so close. That's so, you were so close to the correct answer, but that's not what it is. Elver. Thank you, Maurice. Elver. Anyways, I catch a ridiculous amount of elvers. If you like sort through seaweed along the coast at any time, really, you find ridiculous amounts of elvers. Baby eels are the most lucrative fishery in the United States on a per pound basis. I didn't know that. I didn't know anyone even bought baby eels. What are they doing with them? Baby eels, also called elvers, are likely the most valuable fish on a per pound basis, worth orders of magnitude more money at the docks than lobsters, scallops, or salmon. They're vitally important to the world supply chain for Japanese food. Wait, people eat baby eels? The tiny fish, which only weigh a few grams, are harvested by fishermen using nets in rivers and streams. The only state in the country with a significant elver catch is Maine. I mean, we have a lot here. They should do it here. Interstate Regulatory Board controls the fishery, has released a plan to potentially keep the elver quota at 10,000 pounds a year. The eels are sold as seed stock to Asian aquaculture companies that raise them. Oh, okay. They don't eat the babies. It's not as bad as I thought. They don't eat the babies. They're not serving you the babies at Japanese restaurants. They go to aquaculture companies, which raise them, which then make them into food. Which makes sense. I mean, a bucket full of baby eels can end up as probably, what, thousands upon thousands of people's meals? Think about, because full-grown American eels are really big. Full-grown American eels can be, like, bigger than my wingspan, like, bigger than I can show you on stream. So an individual baby could end up being multiple meals worth on its own. Why not save some adults, then breed those? because breeding eels is one of the most ridiculously difficult things in the world. We like didn't even know how eels bred for a long time or where they bred. So it's probably easier and more traditional to just catch a bunch of the babies and use that instead. It's never really been done. I think eels have been bred, some, but not Anguilla specifically. Are their populations stable even though humans catch a bunch of babies? Well, this is one of the reasons they're threatened. That's always one of the weird things. You look at iNaturalist and you look at, say, American eel. They're listed, I think, as endangered, even though they're one of the most abundant fishes posted on iNaturalist. If iNaturalist would load, that is. Yeah, they're listed as endangered. But then look at their map. For an endangered fish, they are well reported. Wait for it. Yeah. For an endangered fish, they are extremely widespread, abundant, and well reported, right? So it's like, I don't know, especially in this, like my area, my God, look at the amount of American eels. So, I mean, I'm sure they're listed as endangered because we are farming all of their babies, and probably just because they're threatened by dams and other things that block their passages up freshwater waterways. But population-wise, they don't seem to be particularly threatened. Thank you, Special Sock. But, like, protections and stuff like that, like the IUCN list, that can be done in advance, like predictory. Like, oh, hey, this fish is migratory, and we know that we're having a lot of issues with like dams, so we can list this fish to get it protections as a prediction that like, hey, these things that humans are doing are going to affect it in the future. A fish doesn't have to like already be on the ropes, about to be gone, for us to protect it, which is a good thing. I like that precedent. Since booming in value, elvers have become the second most valuable fish species in Maine in terms of total value. Wait, I thought they were the most valuable in terms of total value. Numerous new controls to try to thwart poaching. Aw, man, I was gonna go poaching. State awards a right to apply for an elver license via lottery, and this year more than 4,500 applicants applied for just 16 available licenses. Well, shit, man, I'll throw my hat in the ring. If they're just seining up eels and giving them to Asian aquaculture raising places, I'll just do a random lottery. Throw my name in there. One of these years I'll get it, and I get to make like what, a couple $100,000 off of it. That's crazy. That's crazy. Unless the application has a fee, which it probably does, knowing everything government related. Ah, well. All right, that is the first section of Fish in the News. But don't you worry, chat. There's more news. Welcome to Fish in the News. First thing we have to talk about, 6 foot, 200-pound catfish is a Goliath and makes supposedly the longest migration of any freshwater fish in the world. It's a cool National Geographic article. No! Wait. Enter your email to read the... Oh, it's free. Okay, I just have to... Hold on. I'll put in my spam email. I still don't want to show you guys my spam email, but... Okay. The 6 foot long, 200-pound catfish is a Goliath. When Ronaldo Bertem began studying the Dorado, a type of Goliath catfish in an estuary of Brazil's Amazon River, he was puzzled by the absence of adult fish. Wait, what is this fish? Dorado? I've never heard of this fish, I don't think. I mean, it looks vaguely shovel-nosed like what's that, Pirarucu? Dorado swims through several countries all the way to the foothills of the Andes on the opposite side of the continent to complete its life cycle. It goes all the way upstream the Amazon. The 7 million mile round-trip journey is by far the longest migration made by any freshwater fish in the world. I don't know about that. Maybe single migration. If you count trout perch going back and forth every day, they might win. The epic migration has likely helped Dorado increase its growth and survival, as young animals on the move benefit from a huge diversity of foods, from algae to insects. But its lengthy journey across national borders has also made the species, which weigh more than 200 pounds, more vulnerable to human threats, from overfishing to hydropower dams. Yeah, that's rough. It is a really rough time in history to be a migratory fish. Well, the Dorado in Animal Crossing is the salmon, isn't it? It's the golden salmon. So this is not the Dorado in Animal Crossing. Yeah, this is in general, it's just a really shitty time. Like the past 200 years are the worst for fish migration that it has ever been. Like it's even overfishing was not as much of an issue as how much of an issue this is nowadays. Like the amount of dams and such. Same reasons migratory freshwater fish have declined by 76%. Yep. Despite their dire situation, migratory fish have historically been offered little protection. Yeah, no, we don't typically care, unless we eat them. Just two protected species are migratory fish, Mekong giant catfish and the lake sturgeon. Lake sturgeon are on the fine side. That number doubled in February when the Dorado, along with another Goliath catfish from the Amazon, the Piramutaba. There's another Goliath catfish? Dude, the Amazon River is so cool. I really need to meet a like Brazilian fish biologist who will take me. Imagine the ridiculous things that I could see by spending some time in Brazil or anywhere along the Amazon River, to be honest with you. That must have the most ridiculous fish species abundance in the world. Yeah, Amazon is so crazy. Brazil, this is the third time you've given us a giant catfish this week. Apex predators, the Amazon, 7 species of Goliath catfish. I was making fun of it. There's 7. Play a fundamental role in the balance of the river system. What's more, migratory fish account for 80% of the Amazon's commercial fish production. Interesting. Cool. That's 1 per weekday. Wow, you could catch a different Goliath catfish in the Amazon River every day of the week. Virgin River. I forget. Oh, what? Wait, where's Utah? Virgin River's Utah. They have a shiner, I think. Oh, Virgin River chub. That's what it is. I'm going maybe here in June. They're trying to protect a bunch of fish species. Woundfin, Virgin River chub, desert sucker, virgin spine dace. This is the cool one. Why don't they have a picture? Oh, there it is. Virgin spine dace. Dude, I love spine dace. I want to catch a spine dace so bad. That's like my #1 target while I'm in California. In it's the genus, not now. Leather side chubs. That's like my #1 goal while I'm in California. These leather side chubs, the spine daces, are so cool. There was one that went extinct in California like not that long ago. Look at this thing. It's sick. It looks really European. So cool. White River. There's so many just random small groups of endemics out west. It's ridiculous the amount of time that I'm gonna have to spend searching random springs and such to try and find these type of things. But it's cool that they're protecting them. 2 new species of lamprey in California. Oh yay, lamprey. Found diversity that's never been reported. I feel like every time any scientific study looks for diversity, they find diversity. Is that a crazy statement? When was the last time a research paper was published? Well, I guess publishing is not wouldn't probably happen in inconclusive results or even negative results, because papers want headlines, or journals want headlines. But regardless, it's crazy that every time we're like, hey, I wonder if these 2 fish which have been separated for a while are different species. They're just always different species. Like the 5 pirate perch thing just went through on iNaturalist. So we now have a different pirate perch for every freaking part of the country. You won't read papers where new species are not discovered. I understand. That's what I'm saying. It presents a bias, and also journals won't take those papers oftentimes because they want a headline. You know, they want the best papers in their journal. But we looked at pirate perch diversity recently, and now look at this. We've got 5 different species of pirate perch. So I gained 2 species with this. Huge problem with academia in general? Yes, that is true. Academia in general does have the problem of only publishing hard positive or hard negative results. So p-hacking becomes heavily incentivized. You can just make a nothing burger paper. If you just test for 300 things, you get 1 false positive with a low p-value and publishing it and you're good. So how long have these lampreys been separate? I think it's very important to identify and learn about these unique populations before we lose them. That's crazy. Not in case we lose them, before we lose them. Like these, they're definitely gonna disappear. Probably not far away, especially in California. Wait, so where in California? Can I catch these? The Napa River and Alameda Creek. I've never heard of either of those, but if I go to either of them and I find a baby lamprey, new lamprey species, I'll have to add it to iNaturalist though. Which means I have to convince Eschmeyer to add it. East Bay. Yeah, I don't know anything about California or where various things are in California. It's cool though. If I catch a, it's LA? Really? There's an endangered new species of lamprey in LA waters? That's cool. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see when I go. All right. Oh wait, I have one more thing to talk about, chat. Imagine thinking I was ending it there. How about one of the smallest fishes in the world makes a sound as large as a firecracker? This thing looks like Pitacyprus progenetica, which is the smallest fish in the world. I wonder if they're related. Yeah, probably, because it's in Myanmar. The smallest known brain of any vertebrate in the world. So it's not the smallest fish, but it has the smallest brain. Study this fish primarily for neuroscience. That makes sense. Small, transparent fish. They're so loud that even when walking past their tanks, you can hear audible pulsing sounds. What? How? Specialized muscle pulls the fish's ribs, then the bone strikes the swim bladder. Wait, this dude is playing the rib cage? Bro has 2 brain cells and he's using them to play his rib cage as an instrument. That is horrifying. Imagine if a larger creature did this. Like, thank God it's one of the smallest fish in the world. What if there was like a bear-sized animal that has like a roar, just slammed its rib cage against some organ in its body to make a sound? Yeah, what if there was a whale that did this? I was thinking something actually scary, but yes. Yeah, you just crack glass by pushing your rib cage against your swim bladder. All right. This video looked mildly interesting, so I'm gonna look at this video because it looked mildly interesting. And then after that, we'll do a shitty aquariums. We'll do one shitty aquariums for the fans. All right. This video is called Nothing. It is called Nothing because YouTube has decided not to give me a title. So I don't know who made this video, when they made this video.
Most of the...
It's just not there. I thought it was gonna show up when the video... Okay, hold on.
Most of the largest...
I broke YouTube. How fish survive hydro turbines. So this is from an engineering perspective, but I thought it would be interesting to look at it from a fish
Dams
perspective.
in the US were built before we really understood the impacts they would have on river ecosystems. Or at least they were built before we were...
That's an understatement. And basically, not even basically, when was the last time, like, non-practical dams have been built? It's been a while. We're like, holy crap, water make power, free power, build dam and get free power. And then built 10 billion of them everywhere. And then 10 years later, we're like, oh man, all the migratory fish are dying. Wonder what that's about.
Conscientious enough to weigh those impacts against the benefits of a dam. And to be fair, it's hard to overstate those benefits. Flood control, agriculture, water supply for cities, and hydroelectric power. All of our lives.
I am not purely anti-dam. Some people are purely anti-dam. Just like, I understand. I think there is a very reasonable compromise that we have yet to figure out because we frankly have not put enough money or time into it that can coexist where fish can get past dams and the dams have basically very little ecosystem impact. I think it has to be the right areas with the right species and with the right measures built into the dam to assist the native ecosystem. So I think it's very difficult to do, and I don't think we're in a good place right now. We haven't done enough research to really understand how to do it, but I think it will actually potentially long term with more effort into it will be good.
Benefit in some way from this enormous control over Earth's freshwater resources. But those benefits come at a cost.
Salmon.
And the price isn't just the dollars we spent on the infrastructure, but also the impacts dams have on the environment. So you have these two vastly important resources, the control of water to the benefit of humanity and aquatic ecosystems that we rely on. And in many ways, those two are in direct competition with each other. But even though most of these big dams were built decades ago, the ways we manage that struggle are constantly evolving as the science and engineering improve. This is a controversial issue with perspectives that...
To say it's evolving, I guess, is true. It is improving. There are studies being done. It is still severely underfunded to have fish passages on dams. We're like, hey, maybe we should have fish passages on dams. We came up with a bunch of different theories on how we could do it. We tested like 2 of them with effective methods, failed to really make any good conclusions. The one that I worked on, so I worked looking at the fish passage within a dam. So I looked at a window and fish would pass and I would identify them. And we were trying to see the effectiveness of the dam, right? And this dam was not effective. But you wouldn't even know that. Just even by monitoring that, you wouldn't know how many fish tried to make it through but didn't. So even with my job, where we had a fish passage on a dam and we're monitoring it 24/7 to see what fish came through, we still were not doing it efficiently and had no way to measure because we don't know how many fish tried to get into the passage or how many fish were below the dam and couldn't even find the passage in the first place. There is just a lot of research and improvement that needs to be done. To say that we're improving is true, but my God, is it slow and people just don't care. Right now, it's really like we're in a blitz anti-dam where we tear down all of the old dams, which fair enough, if they're serving no purpose or very little purpose, get rid of them. But we're just not making much progress or as much as I would like to see in terms of fish passages. There is a well-designed fish passage that can work. I guarantee it. Humans are smart enough. We can come up with something. We're just not really trying as hard as we should be.
Run the gamut, and I don't think there's one right answer, but I do know that an informed opinion is better than an oblivious one. So I wanted to see for myself how we strike a balance between a dam's benefits and environmental impacts, and how that's changing over time. So I partnered up with the folks at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, or PNNL, in Washington State to learn more. Just to be clear, they didn't sponsor this video and had no control over its contents. They showed me so much, not just the incredible technology and research that goes on in the lab, but also
fish
how
gel.
it's put into practice in real infrastructure in the field.
I've never seen the inside of a dam. I mean, I imagine this is a very large dam, but that's still crazy.
I could share it with you.
Could get a bunch of drones to pick up each fish and lift them across the dam. You know, you're trying. Good job. Humans try, and that's why we get good at things.
This is practical engineering. On today's episode, we're talking about hydropower.
That's really loud. Surgeon. Salmon. Yeah, this is literally what I worked at. I would sit, well, at home. I watched a video, but there was a camera set on one of these windows, which was a passage along the side of a dam, and the camera just recorded 24/7, and I would go through 24 hours of footage, watching it at like 30 times speed and identify whatever fish came through. But like, no minnows ever came through. The only fish capable of making it were like big fish. The passage was just really poor.
McNary Dam, a nearly 1.5 mile long hydroelectric
They had to be
dam
very
across
strong. The dam that I worked at, like the fish passage was a series of pools, like a step system. So the fish had to climb to one pool, then climb to the next pool, then climb, you know, with the water flowing in between them, right? Which seems simple enough, but the way that it was designed was so poor that it created a whirlpool in each individual pool. So like in each step, you were being spun around like this because of the way that the flow is. Yeah, that is where the bass had the back malformation that I made that video about. So basically you had like, it was like an American Ninja Warrior obstacle course to get through this fish passage. Because not only did you have to go up 5 steps and down the tunnel after finding the passage in the first place, but each step involved like being inside of a whirlpool. So the only fish that ever made it were like big fish, like big game fish or quillback or that kind of thing, or eels and lamprey. They would make it a good amount as well, because I guess they're less affected because they're so eely.
Columbia River between Oregon and Washington State, just shy of 300 miles or 470 kilometers upriver from the Pacific Ocean. And this is Tim Roberts, the dam's operations project manager and the best dam tour guide I've ever met. And
Fish ladders.
McNary is equipped with a host of facilities meant to help wildlife get from one side to the other with as little stress or injury as possible. Let's look at the fish ladders first. McNary has 2 of them. One
Now
on
see,
each.
that is a better fish ladder. That is literally just a tunnel that fish can swim up. Now, are minnows going to make it up that? Probably not. But minnows also aren't typically migratory in most parts, so that's less of a concern. But just like a one long channel, there's no step system, you're not creating any weird flows. This is obviously a much better system.
Each side. A big contingent of the fish needing past McNary Dam are adult salmon and other species from the ocean trying to get upstream to reproduce in freshwater
Eels, lamprey,
streams.
etc.
They are biologically motivated to swim against the current, so a fish ladder is designed to encourage and allow them to do just that. And it starts with attraction water. Dams often slow down the flow of water, both upstream and downstream, which can be disorienting to fish trying to swim against a current. Also, dams are large and fish generally don't read signs, so we need an alternative way to show them how to get around. Luckily, in addition to a strong current, salmon are sensitive to the sound and motion of splashing water, so that's just what we do.
I did not know that. I did not know that fish ladders utilized multiple ways of attracting the fish. I've always wondered about that, of like, how do they find the passage? Again, the dam that I worked on certainly did not do this, and I questioned, out of probably thousands of fish who reached the bottom of the dam, how many of them actually found the passage in the first place? Not to mention how many of them couldn't get through it, but even saw that it existed in the first place. So at least for salmon, there's some way of motivating and attracting them to enter the passage.
At McNary, huge electric pumps lift water from the tail race below the dam and discharge it into a channel that runs along the powerhouse. As the water splashes back down, it draws fish toward the entrances so they can orient with the flow through the ladder. Some of this was a little tough to understand, even seeing it in person, so I had a couple of the engineers at the dam explain it to me.
So there's water coming in the actual ladder and in a
Right,
parallel conduit.
right. So it's very complicated. No.
Golly.
They're going to approach the dam and enter from one of 3 spots on the Oregon side. There's a north fish entrance in the north end of the powerhouse, south fish entrance in the south side of the powerhouse, and there's an adult collection channel that runs across the face.
All these entrances provide options for the fish to come in, increasing the opportunity and likelihood that they'll find their way.
Between the regulating weirs on the north end, regulating weirs in the south end, and those floating orifices here, you back up that water. You take a massive amount of water to keep that step,
Yeah,
that whole quarter length.
I see.
Once they're in, they
So there's like a multiple. This is going to sound insane because I'm a fish biologist watching a scientific video. But the greatest thing that I compare this to, and maybe someone in chat will understand, is an iron golem farm in Minecraft. This is going to sound ridiculous, but the way that you have like the spawners and then you have the flows going one way and then that flows into a separate channel, it's just the reverse of that. So you have a horizontal flow along the front face of the dam that they'll orient themselves upwards to enter the ladder on the other, the water flowing on the other side. It's literally a okay, like 5 people in chat understood, so I don't feel as bad anymore, but it's literally how you make like the farms in Minecraft where you have the water flow into the next water flow into the next water flow, except they're going up that. So you just have to, which is harder to do in real life because water in real life doesn't flow like it does in Minecraft, but the same idea.
make their way upstream into the ladder itself. Concrete baffles break up the insurmountable height of the dam into manageable sections that fish can swim up at their own pace. Most of the fish go through holes in the baffles, but some jump over the weirs. There's even a window near the top of the ladder where an expert
Was that a
counts
shad?
the fish and
No, it was a
identifies
salmon.
their species. This data is important to a wide
That's what I
variety
did.
of organizations, and it's even posted online if you want to have a look. Once at the top, the fish pass through a trash rack that keeps debris out of the ladder and continue their journey to their spawning grounds. The goal is that they never even know they left the river at all, and it works. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Chinook, coho, steelhead, and sockeye make their way past McNary Dam. If you include the non-native shad, that number is in the millions.
These
Wait, shad aren't native on the West Coast, but you guys have them? That's really funny. I didn't know you guys have invasive shad. Because the shad here are such like a nice protected part of the ecosystem. There are migratory fish. I didn't know that there was a place where they didn't want them.
yeah, help tremendously.
And it's not just bony
Lamprey!
fish that find their way through. Some of the latest updates are to help lamprey passage. These are really interesting creatures.
I mean, in some parts of the country, they're like invasive and people want to get rid of them. Here, we're trying to nurture them along because they are a native species. So there are some small changes we've been doing to try and make those
Wow.
make passage for lamprey more successful.
That's cool. I didn't think I would ever hear an engineer trying to make lamprey passage successful. In New Jersey, lamprey just typically don't care about the dams. They do this crazy like rock climbing thing where they suction onto the, as long as it's low enough, like a crazy, that a dam of this height, obviously they can't do this. But with our, like, mostly in New Jersey, we have little dams, like 10-foot dams maximum. They'll suck onto the side and then slowly like swim up, suction, swim up, suction, swim up, suction to move their way up the dam. I've watched them do it in different parts of New Jersey. It's really cool.
I'm working on another video that will take a much deeper look at how this and other fish ladders work, so stay tuned for that one. But it's not the only fish passage facility here. Because what goes up must come down, or at least their offspring do. Most adult salmon die after reproducing, so McNary needs a way to get those juvenile fish through as well. That might sound simple. Thanks to gravity, it's much simpler to go down than up, but at a dam, it's anything but.
And the way I explained to them is the adults are mission oriented. They're coming back to spawn. The juveniles are just kind of dumb kids riding the wave in the ocean. And honestly, that's what they're doing. The main focus has been centered around the juveniles migrating out, right?
That's interesting.
How do we get the majority of them out? And so
See, this is a brand new challenge that I wouldn't have thought about because the dams in New Jersey are small enough that like the fish can kind of just go over the top of them if they want to. There's some flow coming over the top of the dam, and so they can do that. Wonder if that's a behavior they already had, or if there's some behavioral adaptation to human-built dams. There's no way. I think it's highly unlikely that how long have dams been properly around? Like less than 200 years. I think it's highly unlikely that there has been a large behavioral adaptation in populations of migratory fish in that time. That seems very unlikely, especially in different parts of the world where those fish have been separated that entire duration.
So So when they're coming down, they're approaching the structure, they got two basic paths to take, either the spillway or the powerhouse.
I definitely wouldn't want to pass through one of these, but juvenile fish can make it through the spillway mostly just fine. In fact, specialized structures are often installed.
Yeah, this is in New Jersey. This is what I would expect. The dams are small enough that you can kind of just go over the spillway for the most part with no issue.
Migration times to encourage fish to swim through the spillway. McNary Dam has lift gates where the water flows from lower in the water column. But salmon like to stay relatively close to the surface, and they're sensitive to the currents in the flow. Many dams on the Columbia system have some way to spill water over the top, called a weir, that's more conducive to getting the juveniles through the dam. The other path for juveniles to take is to be drawn toward the turbines. But McNary and a lot of other dams are equipped with a sophisticated bypass system to divert the fish before they make it that far. And that all starts with the submersible screens.
What?
These enormous structures are specially designed with lots of narrow slots to let as much water through to the turbines while excluding juvenile fish. They are lowered into place with a huge gantry crane that rides along the top of the powerhouse. Each submersible screen is installed in front of a turbine to redirect fish upwards while the water flows continue on. Brushes keep them clean of debris to make sure the fish don't get trapped against the screen. They might look simple, but even a basic screen like this requires a huge investment of resources and maintenance because they're absolutely critical to the operation of the dam.
Incredibly labor-intensive screens. We spend a lot of time because you saw those brushes running up and down them. They've got submerged gearboxes, submerged motors, submerged electrical. So every December we pull them out, and for 4 months we work on fish screens. Not to mention, and if there's a problem, these are a critical piece of equipment here during fish passage season. If something goes wrong with that screen, this turbine has to shut down.
Yeah, right.
And you can't run them without it.
Once the fish
Because a fish will pass into the turbine? Is that the issue? I hate that I'm saying turbine now. I used to say turbine, and now I've been converted to saying turbine because I've heard so many people say it recently. I had a class recently where someone said it. Thank you, Jasmine.
By the screens, they flow with some of the water upward into a massive collection channel.
Turbines are for wearing, turbines are for spinning. I don't know, I'm kind of coming around to calling it turbines. I never really had an opinion on how to pronounce it, but now I kind of do.
This was originally designed as a way to divert ice and debris, but now it's basically a fish cathedral along the upstream face of the dam. The juveniles come out in these conduits from below, then they flow along the channel, while grates along the bottom concentrate them upward. Next, they flow into a huge pipe that pops out on the downstream face of the dam. Along the way, the juveniles pass through electronic readers that scan.
I wonder if predatory fish have figured out that they can just sit under these and wait. Because actually, they probably have figured that out. Now that I'm thinking about it, I have a friend who fished for muskie, and he fished for them right at the bottom of a spillway. That's got to be because minnows will just come over the spillway by accident and be free food, right? Surely that's why.
And any of the fish that have been equipped with tags, and then
never thought about it.
Maze of pipes and valves and pumps and flumes. In the past, this facility was used to store juveniles so they could be loaded up in barges and transported downstream. But over time, the science showed it was better to just release them downstream from the dam. Every once in a while, some of the juveniles are separated for counting so scientists can track them, just like the adults in the ladder.
Cool.
Then the juveniles
Bet they get cool
continue their
minnows.
journey in the pipe out to the middle of the river downstream. Avian predation is a serious problem for juveniles. Pelicans, seagulls, and cormorants love salmon just like the rest of us. In many cases, most of the fish mortality caused by dams isn't the stress of getting them through the various structures, but simply that birds and other predatory fish take advantage of the fact that dams can slow down and concentrate migrating fish. This juvenile bypass pipe runs right out into the center of the
So if I just
downstream
wait at the
channel.
bottom, I'll get free food? I mean, that seems to be the vibe. He's literally talking about how birds, and probably fish predators as well, will just sit at the bottom.
New ways to operate turbines to decrease impacts to fish from ramping them up and down in response to fluctuating grid demands. Sometimes, and tiny
Salmon!
batteries, while extremely impressive in their own right, Sometimes
Pike
hard enough.
minnows have a bounty because they prey on juvenile salmon and dams give them an unnatural advantage. I did not know that. That's really cool.
For long-term studies. So they've even come up with fish-powered generators that can keep the tags running for much longer periods of time. A piezoelectric device creates power as the fish swims. And they
Bruh, the fish's swimming is powering the tag on the fish.
had some fun ways to test them out too. Of course, migratory fish aren't the only part of the environment impacted by hydropower, and with all the competing interests, I don't think we'll ever feel like the issue is fully solved.
That's pretty cool. Cool to learn about fish passages even in more in depth, because I've always felt like I wanted more time, effort, and resources put into them, but didn't exactly know the problem areas. Other than that, they just typically suck. So that was a cool video. All right, we will do one last thing today, chat. You know what it is. Poopy aquariums. How many adjectives can we use other than the cuss word that we will not use? Because we are better than that. And because YouTube will take my money and demonetize me, so I don't want to do that. Anyways, tank number 1. Slaps tank. This 180 can hold so many fish. Good thing they have a pleco to eat the poop. Oh my god. Cichlid, arowana, Oscar, pleco, freaking knife fish. There's 2 knife fish. Is this another pleco or is this a catfish? Is this a fish or a rock? I can't even tell. The substrate is made of fish. Oh, can't forget about the parrotfish on the right side. There's so many fish that the fish tank decorations. Oh, what decorations do you have in your tank? Fish. Oh, what fish do you have? Fish. Disgusting. Oh my god. Peppa Pig, how dare you? I'm boycotting Peppa Pig. Never thought I'd have to do it. Boycotting Peppa Pig. Disgusting. Look at this. The tea that she is gonna drink barely is a higher volume than the fish living in that tank. Disgusting. People on this sub be asking, does this aquarium suck? Dude, this is really cool. Is this the one at the shed? There was something like this at the shed where they had the slippery dick wrasse and one of those tanks where you could like go under the tank. I don't think this is the shed though. This looks really cool. It's really pretty. Whatever aquarium that is did a good job. Guys, send me all the gujuju. I need to save these fish. $180. $180 for 3 goldfish in what looks like a 10-gallon tank? You're getting scammed. Update on the 1-liter bowl aquarium with 2 bettas I found on Facebook. My god. How is this even held up? I hate minimalism. I've had this fish for 10 years. I think he needs a bigger tank. Can you guys rescue it? Oh my god, what is that? Is that a pike minnow? What is that? That thing is huge. Nah, man, I think he's fine. I think not being able to turn around the tank is a good thing, because then he won't get confused, you know? His face is always that direction, his butt's always that direction. The food is always going to be in front of him, you know? It's real good, real easy. Saw this in a store the other day. The only proper way to keep a fish in a vase. Cute. I'm asking, why do some fish need massive amounts of area? For example, 20 gallons per goldfish, 10 gallons per betta. How does that work? Is it not if you have sufficient filtration and reasonable space, they should be happy? Wait, what? Didn't you just contradict yourself? Reasonable space? That is reasonable space. 20 gallons is not that much room for a full-grown goldfish. That is like pushing it, but that is what we use because, you know, it's realistic for what people are actually going to do. If you set the, you know, the barrier too high, people just aren't going to listen at all. If you be the size of a goldfish and sit in a 20 gallon and tell me if you feel that it's reasonable space. I think you answered your own question. Lovely. Gotta love the bowls. Present to you my cousin's crayfish tank, a certified graveyard. They just lost their 4th crayfish and are going to get a 5th. Oh yeah. There is no substrate. Just some rock decorations and a background, which is just more rocks. The tank is like half filled. I think it's on a slope. Am I crazy, or is that water sloping left to right? I'm not crazy, right? This tank is on a slope as well. Oh my god. Our turtle has been like this for 2 days now, just sitting in this position. I don't know if it's something wrong, but I've never had a turtle before, lol. Yes, her eyes are still open. Oh boy. So you have a turtle in a tank that a turtle can barely fit in, and your entertainment and stimulus for this turtle are 4 rocks. Or maybe there's a fifth. Hey, maybe I was unfair. There might be a 5th rock back there. Maybe it's 5 rocks, actually. Friend sent me this from his work's break room. 3 of what looks like tetras in there. Oh yeah, what are they, glow tetras? I love me some glow tetras in the work fish tank. It's a decent sized tank. That could look quite nice, but instead that is one of the ugliest tanks I've ever seen. Besides being abusive, it's just ugly. It just doesn't look good. Rainbow gravel just does not look good, and glow tetras on a just empty liminal space. Hi, is this shitty? Monster tanks. Lovely. Why do restaurants think this is okay? Because their customers think it's okay. And if no one cares, no one cares. The majority of people who see a bunch of giant parrotfish in a restaurant are like, holy crap, that's so cool. And the kids love it, and the adults love it, and everybody has a great time. The like 1% of people who are like, hey, maybe that's abusive, those are not enough of the customer base to convince a restaurant to not do the thing that is benefiting them. What is in the bottom right? Are those all... What catfish is that? Are those hoplos with like like calico markings? I understand koi, but I'm very confused as to... I've never seen catfish with this marking. What is this? I've never seen catfish with that marking. But they look like hoplo. They're shaped like hoplo, or at least some sort of armored catfish. But I guess they've been bred to have funny colors. Wow. Nice goldfish tank. That's actually a really pretty tank if it didn't just have a giant goldfish in it. So, yeah. Again, I love these, like, vertical tanks. This could be a really pretty tank if it didn't just have a goldfish in it. This makes me sad. What is in there? Are those moss balls? I guess they are moss balls. They look not like moss balls. They look more just like a bunch of plants. Went to my local Asian market and they were selling bettas at the register. That's pretty common in a lot of places. It is what it is at this point. I'm desensitized. Bettas at the cash register? Pah, who cares? You know what I've seen? I've seen a person put a live fish in their fingernail. I've seen a person put a live fish in their car door and then bump the speakers to cook the fish with vibrations. You think betta fish at a counter is getting me? Come on. This atrocity from 5 Minute Crafts? What the fuck? It's fake though, surely. Because the toilet has to drain this water to flush. Unless it only drains to a certain point. Or, oh, is it that thing where, like, there's an inside tank that has a stable amount of water, and then, like, an outer tank that has the water to drain from the toilet? Fish getting back shots. Oh, yeah. Lemon lime Gatorade for the fish. My God. Man, there's so much good stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I've been looking at Facebook Marketplace recently, trying to get myself some desks and stuff. Tables and desks and all that, so I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace. I have not encountered a fish-related thing, but that's mostly because I'm staying to furniture. But I would not be surprised to see some... Jesus. Fighting fish tank aquarium. It's so small. That honestly would not be an awful... If it was a little bit bigger, it would not be an awful photo tank for like baby fish or minnows to like put them in, take a quick photo, and then take them out. But as is, my God, is that gross. All right, that's enough gross aquariums for today. Everybody say Bye to Mala. And bye to Zach. I'm here too. I matter too. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for hanging out. Go watch my new video and like and share and subscribe and send it to your mother and your father and your brother and your sister and discover a long lost. Send your DNA into ancestry.com so that you discover a new long lost relative, and then spend a lot of time tracking them down and reaching out to them just so that you can send them that video. Goodbye.